this is a soul path reading for service to others. Okay, so I have 2, 4, 6 crystals here, and I've got all of your pictures. So I have yours, I have serious business, and then I have your husband here as well. And I've already surrounded everybody in some positive space. I'm going to go ahead and show you the crystals that I pulled because they all kind of refer to different things. So this one is called Lapis Lazuli, and it's a throat chakra stone and also a third eye stone. So it has a lot to do with mental clarity. I think there's a lot of, one thing that's coming up is a lot of confusion. And confusion as to where you want to be, where you see yourself, and kind of where to place yourself. I'm going to kind of go back and forth between the crystals and some of the stuff that was already coming up when I got your code name. Okay, so I have my Shattuckite here. This is also a third eye chakra stone. And it's also an earth energy stone. So it has a lot of grounding energy. So it's kind of a higher chakra and a lower chakra stone at the same time. It has a lot of healing energies, and it's a really calming stone. Okay, so this is definitely something that I feel like is coming towards you, is tranquility. That's something that you really need right now. That's definitely something that your guides want to pass to you. Then I have here sunstone. So this is a solar plexus and a sacral chakra stone, and I'm definitely feeling the sacral chakra, especially for this reading. Usually I say it's more feeling like a solar plexus stone. It's sunstone, and the solar plexus is kind of thought of as the sun chakra, at least to me anyway. I kind of think of it like a sun. It's there in the center, and it kind of charges all of the other chakras. But these chakras are definitely really creative centers. So they have a lot of force, a lot of manifestation in those two centers. So your sacral, again, a lot of manifesting in the sacral chakra. It's very creative. It's very emotional. It has to do with pleasure. It has to do with personal power, empowerment, and a sense of who you are. And kind of your... This chakra is coming up a lot because it also can have to do with your ability to feel fulfilled, okay, your ability to get enjoyment out of life. And then the solar plexus has a lot to do, no, I'm going to stay with the sacral chakra. This chakra is really coming up. There's also a feeling of being comforted by what you give to others, okay? And that's why you're getting this code name, Service to Others. It's always the guides that choose the code name. I go in beforehand, before I go into the actual reading. I kind of do like a very, very short reading, which is not really a reading. It's just connect with the guides, get the code name, and obviously I only do that for video readings. But there's a feeling like when you're holding your energy right here, you're not really going to feel fulfilled. You're going to feel like you're really moving forward if you are reaching out to others and you're doing something that benefits them. And I don't mean your immediate family, okay? Like your husband and your daughter and, you know, like siblings and things like this, or your dogs, okay? Dogs can definitely be fulfilling, obviously, but, and obviously family can be as well, but it feels like it shouldn't be about them. It feels like it needs to be about you, and it feels like helping other people outside of your family, more kind of in a professional kind of way. It feels like this would really, really benefit you. So I'm going to ask your guides a bit more about this. I don't know if this would mean more like starting your own kind of business, if this would mean getting into some kind of therapy or massage or something that you could see yourself doing that would really help others. I do feel like something like massage or something like that. These are just examples. I feel like that might be kind of a little bit strenuous physically to stand there and do something like that for long periods of time. But the point is that it is doing something that makes someone else feel good. It makes them feel more at peace, more relaxed. Another thing like that would be like life coaching or some kind of therapy, something that is therapeutic for other people. There are so many different options in that way. It really has to do with what you are attracted to. And obviously animals as well is something else that is coming up. And that you are fulfilled by animals and by being around animals. This is definitely something that comes up a lot with your daughter too. Well, my autofocus is so terrible right now. Oh, there we go. Okay. So that's something that comes up with your daughter too. I do definitely feel like you do get a lot of fulfillment out of working with animals, but I don't know. I feel this feeling like even though that's true and that's there and that's something to consider how you can be more fulfilled in that way. Especially eventually when your daughter does take her dog back to her place. That's something to think about. I do feel like animals really help you balance. They help to cleanse out your chakras a lot. And they give you some much needed energy. You don't feel judged by them. They're very pure. And they kind of just take things as they are. They don't hold on to any kind of grudges or judgments. They don't hold on to things like that against people. That's something really, really good. So you feel safe with animals. But in the long run, I feel it feels like, okay, it feels like you need some kind of career. That's the feeling that keeps coming up. Okay, it feels like you need something that you are doing. You're doing it for you. You're making money. You're making your own money. That's aside from your husband. And one thing that your guides are bringing up, this was something that really, really stuck out in the email with the questions that your daughter translated for me. This thing that you said, that you're really tired and you have all this housework to do since you're a housewife, and you're really tired and you don't want to do it. You feel like you have to almost force yourself to do it because you feel like you're supposed to do those things as a wife. And this was something that was coming up pretty intensely when I was first reading Serious Business. Some of her very first readings and even the first thought form session that I had with her, it was coming up this thing about women and their role. And this was the reason that she really had this thing there, this block when it came to scuba diving. She had this kind of intense thing there because that's not, that's, how do I say it? That's not the kind of traditional thing that women do or girls do. Of course, this day and age, you know, a woman can do whatever she wants. Okay, we can do that physically, at least in most places we can. Obviously, not all countries are that way. And even the countries that are, it doesn't mean that society always promotes that, no matter where you are. So especially in the West, obviously this is promoted more and more, and a lot of other countries, um, it's like, so physically this is becoming more and more, how do I say this? I got to interpret energies that are coming towards me. So I translate the energies, and then your daughter is going to translate the English. We're both translating. Um, okay. Okay, but it's like, okay, so this day and age, in most places, there's a lot more that women are able to do. Okay, it's the 21st century. We can all vote now. There's there's a lot of things that we just take for granted now that we couldn't do before. But the thing is, it still hasn't been that long of a time, really. And there are a lot of beliefs that are still there that people haven't come out of. Even though they are obviously coming out of that more and more and more, and the younger that you go, depending anyway on where they are born or into what society or who with. Obviously, like I said, some countries are still pretty behind, but physically, there's a lot more that we can do. It's mentally, there are still a lot of beliefs that are stuck. Um, so obviously your daughter is younger, and so those beliefs are not quite as entrenched. Anybody who is a bit older, they're going to have those beliefs more stuck in there. They're going to be more entrenched, and that's your husband as well. Okay, he's going to have this more of, this is what men do and this is what women do. But there's also this feeling of culture. Um, it feels like some of this has to do with where you come from. It feels like the society there and some of the traditions there are a little bit more behind, even though on the other hand things are progressing, things are progressive, and they are moving forward. At the same time, it feels like there are some stuck energies there, even just within the country itself, and what it promotes and what it sees women as, what it really sees their role as. So that's something to kind of be careful with. Just understand that there are a lot of energies even surrounding you that can promote certain beliefs that you've always had. But it's really time for you to step out of those beliefs. And it's like when you feel like you are fulfilling others, when you feel like you are really helping others and you're being of service to others, but at the same time there's an exchange there, you're doing this in a professional way, that's something that needs to be there. It's not like in a sense, self-sacrificing thing. You're going to go out and help a bunch of people, and not that that's all self-sacrificing. Obviously, there's a lot of fulfillment to just going out and helping people, just going to a homeless person and just handing them some money. That can be really fulfilling. But, okay, you can't hand the homeless person any money if you don't have money yourself. So it feels like, on the one hand, it's about fulfilling others. It's going to bring you a lot of fulfillment, but then at the same time, you've got to have that financial footing so that in that way, you can be a little bit more away from your husband. It's coming in almost like your husband's grip, in a sense. It does feel like he can be a little bit of a control person with some things, okay? Over here, we call that a control freak a little bit. I I don't know what they call it over there, but it feels like he can be a little bit tight-fisted with money. That was something that was coming up with the code name as well when I was receiving that, and I first pulled up his picture because I brought up all the pictures after I got your code name so that I could surround everybody in positive space. And you were asking about this money thing in your questions, how you can kind of go to him and say, hey, can I have money for this or that? And he's like, no, we don't have it. And there was an immediate feeling with that it really isn't so much that he doesn't have it. It's that you're asking him for it and he doesn't know what you're going to do with it. Or even if he does, it's that you're going to do something with it. So somebody else is going to do something with what he sees kind of as his money. Okay, it's like he made this money and he is kind of controlling about it. And anytime that somebody is controlling like that, it's out of a fear, okay? He's very, very fearful. There's a lot of fears in his energy, for sure. There really is. So he's definitely somebody to be kind of patient with. Did I show you all of the crystals? I'm just realizing I haven't shown you all of the crystals. Okay. So I'm gonna go into some of these as well. I want to make sure that I don't forget. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you some more of these. Oh, and actually I have 3 left, and all 3 of them have to do with psychic protection. I just realized that. So I have my purple fluorite. This is another third eye stone. This one is pretty much totally a third eye stone. It does have to do with empathy as well. So empathy is more of a heart chakra thing, but still the reason that it has heart chakra stuff though, it's just in the way of empathy. So it's having to do with psychic abilities still. So it really has a lot to do with the third eye, some crown chakra as well. So communicating with guides and mediumship. And also mental clarity, okay, so dispelling confusion, being able to focusing on what you want, focusing on what's positive. But the other thing that this stone is really good for is psychic protection, protecting your third eye and protecting your energy field from other sources of thoughts, feelings that can be coming towards you. And it's coming in that way. It's coming in with that word, sources. So, okay, the reason that they're putting it like that is they're showing me that you have a lot of cords to your husband. And so he's actually the source of a lot of your emotions, some of your physical drain as well, a lot of that. So a lot of the emotions, a lot of the physical drain, some of the mental stuff as well, where you have kind of this mental cloud and confusion. Not all of that is coming from him. Some of that is coming from almost a response to how drained you feel. And your guides aren't saying that this is all coming from him, okay? And you do have a lot of beliefs supporting that. Also, they were mentioning the society around you. But also, again, your guides are more coming in with an energy like he's someone to kind of be patient with and kind of help along in the way that you can, but you really have to help yourself and really make sure that that is the priority, okay? And, you know, cleaning the house and all those things can't so much be the priority, but it is understanding, okay? When you have one person who's out working and they're making all the money, not understanding. That's the word I'm looking for. Understandable. I don't know what's happening with my words right now. But it is understandable when you have one person who's out working and they're making all the money. Of course, you're going to have someone else. If they're not out working and they're also making money, then of course they're going to feel like, okay, my job is I take care of the home, I cook, I clean, and that doesn't matter if they're male or they're female. This day and age, there are plenty of stay-at-home dads, and the mother is the one who's out primarily working, and so it has to do with this one person is out here and they're doing all this work, okay, and the other person is staying here, and so they're expected to do this work in the house, and really in that sense that's only fair. So the thing is, you just need to balance this out more, where you're not only seen as that and seen in that way. So if you had your own thing, if you had your own career, you would also be making money. So it's like there's almost this sense of domination and power in regards to wealth and prosperity, and who is controlling the money and who is making the money. And this, I'm talking more about your husband. This is the way that he thinks and the way that he is seeing this. He's making the money. He is kind of tight-fisted with it. He wants to be kind of in control of it. It's really out of his fear. It's a really fear-related thing. And so you have to be kind of careful not to give into those fears as well. But it feels like if he kind of keeps you right here doing this stuff, and you're allowing that, and you continue to allow that, it feels like when you're in the house and you're doing these, your guides are saying robotic things. When you're doing these kind of robotic things, the reason that they're saying it that way is because it's like these programmed behaviors. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. Not, I love doing this. Not, I'm grabbing onto my life and I'm doing something that I'm really passionate about and that I enjoy. And that's something that you really, really need to have. And I know that your daughter would really want you to have that too. I know that things have really changed for her the more that she's had that herself. But for you, it feels specifically like helping other people, some kind of service with others where you are benefiting them and doing some type of therapy. But that's really what it has to do with. A lot of his fears, and controlling the money. That's what a lot of this is really stemming from. Almost this kind of power play with money. That one thing that you said, there was really, really a lot of energy on that one thing that you said when you presented those questions. So this is just a really, really big block that he has. So your guides are saying to, on the one hand, be understanding of it, but then on the other hand, don't conform to it at the same time. Don't bend to his rule in a sense. And kind of start to get your own kind of power back, your own sense of power. And in this case, the way to do that is by making your own money, is by making money. Just because he has that so intensely in your head, when you're able to do that, you're going to start feeling more relieved. But it needs to be something that you really love, that you really enjoy doing, and there needs to be this exchange with other people where you feel like they're responding to you in a positive way by what you're sending out. You're giving them something that's comforting. It feels like your nature is very nurturing. you do tend to be very nurturing and to really value others and think of others, and it feels like there's a space for that. But only if you are really taking care of yourself. I feel like once this is more worked out, you're gonna feel more at ease. You're not gonna feel like you have to go to him and beg him for money. You're gonna feel like you have more of it yourself. So you're gonna feel like a woman in a true way, okay? Not in a programmed way that he can control. But yeah, your guides are saying though that divorce though really isn't the answer. That really wouldn't be a good thing. And I think that you know that as well, even though I know you've thought about it or considered it. At the same time, I know that that isn't something that you would want to do. And not just by the little bit that you said in the questions, which wasn't very much, but by the feeling of it, the feeling that is coming through. It feels like, you do have this very nurturing and caring side. And it feels like you would feel really responsible for any negative feelings that he has and for hurting him. It feels like he's been in this dynamic for a very long time. And he does have a lot of fears. Now, obviously, you shouldn't stay in a relationship for someone else. But at the same time, I don't feel like he's the only one who's benefiting. And I do feel like there are things that you are learning, and that you can learn together. I also feel that once this is worked out and you have more of your own income flowing and you're stepping out more in the world and you're imparting something, that's the thing. You need to feel like you're giving something, like you're of service on the earth, that you're of service to others, like your code name is. When you feel that, you're going to feel more at ease. You're going to feel more fulfilled because you're going to feel like you're doing your part, that you're doing what you came here on this planet to do on your journey. You're being fulfilled by it, by giving back and supporting others. Okay, you're going to really feel that. On the other hand, though, also you're going to be making some money of your own, and that's going to switch up this dynamic a bit. He's already going to have enough to be afraid of, I feel like. But at the same time, I feel like that's going to be really good for him. I feel like that's something that he needs to see. That's going to help him kind of rethink his programs a little bit. He's going to have to back down on his programs a little bit and kind of see them a little bit more. I don't feel like he's going to fully see them, or just come out of them fully in the way that he needs to. Just because the only reason he would need to is just because that would be really good for him. That's really good for anybody to see their programmings and come fully out of them. You, on the other hand, it's a need in a different way. It's not just, oh, that would be good, No, it would really, really fulfill you. And it's a huge block. It's a really big block for you with feeling fulfilled, to have these programmings of what a woman is supposed to be and what a woman is supposed to do. And that ended up passing to, I almost said her name, that ended up passing to serious business as well. But she has really, really come a long way with removing those. And another question that wasn't in your original questions, but I know she's sent me since then some about this, about why is she your daughter? Why are the two of you together? One thing is, I feel like you have had past lives before with one another, but Also, I feel like this is really, really good for you to see. Um, to see her breaking out of these same programmings that you have since they passed down to her, but her being of a younger generation, um, they weren't quite as entrenched. On the one hand, sometimes it's like, okay, it was this person's and now it's passed down to this person and then passed down to this person. So you think it's getting stronger and stronger as it's passing down. And that can be the case sometimes, but it also depends on the society. It depends on, are those programmings being collectively believed in, as strongly as they were before? And the answer is no. Collectively, we're kind of tossing those in the universal garbage can where they need to be dumped into. Okay, so collectively we're all deciding something else. And so even if, in the sense of it keeps passing down, in like a family line or whatever with women, and this would not be only true of your family, this would be probably in general, there would be a lot of females that would have programmings like this from generation to generation. So yeah, you would think it's getting stronger, but since the society doesn't support it as much, okay, since the society doesn't support it nearly as much as it was before, um, not even that long ago, it's only been like close to 100 years when women were like able to vote and things like that. It really has not been that long of a time. That's in the West, obviously, but um, so just because of that, those programmings in the younger generation, they're not as supportive collectively. So they're just easier to get rid of. You don't see as much around you that says yes to the beliefs that you have. But you did see a lot more of that when you were younger. And when we're young, we tend to absorb a lot of things. And so then when we're older, they're just more entrenched. That's what we saw so much of. That's what we integrated. Even in some case, that's what we kind of fought to hold on to because we thought it was right. So it can just be kind of glued in there more. Even if we see it falling away more and more around us, we feel like we need to hold on to it because of this whole supposed to thing. We think this is who we are, what we're supposed to be, what we're supposed to do. This is the traditional woman. It's the traditional way to kind of uphold yourself, uphold a certain standard of living and being and operating. So they're saying that you need to set a new standard. You need to set a new standard for yourself. It also feels like you need to set more boundaries. But again, it's going to really help you to do that when you have some of your own money, because that's kind of a line. That's then you're able to say, I have something that is mine. I can benefit to the household. I can buy things for myself that are mine, and I don't have to go to you and ask you. So it's not just you giving me this energy when you sort of deign to do so, when you kind of feel like it. It just feels like it gains you more respect, in that sense. Just because, like I said, these are his programmings. These are what These are what his programming say, earns respect, and those are what his fear-based programmings are. So it's not that you actually have more or less respect. Obviously, your guides aren't going to respect you more. They're not going to feel like, oh, she has more of this or that, we're going to give her more respect. No. They're just speaking specifically about a programming that he has, or he feels like money earns respect, okay? And money earns authority, and money earns power. And he feels like it's the men who mainly make the money and hold the money and can do things with the money and say what you're going to do with the money. So it feels like if you haven't earned the money, you haven't earned as much respect, or you haven't earned as much of a right to say what to do with the money in his mind. And even though he's making the money, that isn't really true. Like that isn't just a general way of thinking in every household. There are plenty of households where the guy makes the money and it's actually the wife who does the budget. There are so many households like that where the wife actually does the budget, and the husband doesn't do the budget. And she says, okay, I have this much for grocery shopping and this much for this. There are a lot of families like that. So this is his programmings in his specific way as well that they come out. Um, and so it's not just that way completely with every other person who has those similar programmings. It isn't. And that's something that your guides want to point out, that this isn't just the normal way of operating, even if it is a programmed normal way. This isn't just the way that everybody around you operates in other places. There are plenty of wives who do budgets, and who have more freedom with the money, even if they're not the one who's primarily making it. But in your case, they're saying that the way that you're going to get more financial freedom is to be more independent financially and to have a source of income yourself that is separate from him. And I feel like your daughter is really showing you that. She's really showing you she's showing you yourself, in a sense. She's showing you where you were and where you are in the future, like what the potential is for you to be, because you have a lot of the same blocks, or you did. And so when you see her removing all of them, then you can look at that and you can see where you are headed. You can see where you could end up. So that's a really, really positive thing. That's also a reason why it's good to stay with your husband, because that's something that he's going to see. I feel like that's something that he'll value. He might not say it out loud, but I feel like that's something that he's going to notice, and that will shake up some of his programmings a little bit. It feels like doing some type of movement as well. Some type of movement, it feels like would be really good for you, but it also feels like along with like breath work. So they're sending me like a feeling and a picture of like just doing some breath techniques where you're breathing in really, really deeply and letting it out. and that you can breathe through emotions that you have as they come up, and not allow them to just sort of paralyze you. You need to be moving forward anyway. Also, I feel like you have to have times for you, um, where you can kind of be with yourself, and where you're not um, so focused on doing housework and doing all these things for other people, in the way of your family, and doing all these supposed tos. You need to have time that's just for you. So this breathing exercise, this is good as well, to just take some time for you and just sit. You can go outside or wherever and just breathe. Just breathe really deeply in and out. Focus on relaxing, focus on yourself, harmonizing your own mind and body and emotions, your own chakras, your own energy field. Connecting as well. It opens you up. It helps you feel more connected to your own guidance system. It doesn't mean that your guides are sending you images or talking to you in your head or something. No, a lot of times guides just send suggestions, and it seems like we're the ones thinking it. And then we respond. We either agree with them, or we end up doing something other than what they suggested, maybe. But they give these suggestions to help us out, to give us feedback, to encourage us to move forward and to step more into who we are. And we have opportunities all the time to listen to them, which means we really have opportunities all the time to listen to who we are, because when they're sending us suggestions, that's what they're trying to help us to step more into. They're very in alignment with that. They contracted with us before we came to help us do certain things that we had decided on, that we decided on wanting to do. So it was our choice, and they just kind of help us. They help guide us into that, where we're more in that direction, doing more what we would want to be doing, what we want to be fulfilled by. So this isn't your guide saying this is what you should do, this is what you're supposed to do, you came here to do this or that. No, this is what would make you feel more fulfilled as a being, as a soul, as a person, as a human being in this lifetime. And they're just helping to guide you more into that fulfillment. That's really their role. That's what they're in charge of and what they do. And that's why they're here. Sometimes on Earth we can get really lost in this really kind of disturbing energy that's around us. It's kind of a very upsetting or offsetting kind of vibration when you step here on Earth from perhaps a much higher or clearer or purer vibration, and then you come here. It's a lot more dense and slow, and it can just be more upsetting or disturbing and chaotic to suddenly be kind of thrown into that. Be kind of thrown into these lower things. And these lower vibrations and these lower tugs and pulls, where things kind of draw you in to lower vibrational thoughts and lower vibrational feelings. So we can be kind of sunk down into those things here, because this place is more dense, it's more heavy. And so it's almost like a gravitational pull that it can have sometimes to kind of pull you down and pull you into something that's lower, a lower state. And so you have to do things that are going to help you to lift up more. Um, so where you're more buoyant and you float on top of all of this crap, you rise up out of it and you stay on the top of it where you're not sinking down into it, sort of in in this mire, just things that feel very old, excuse me, old, and things that feel very entrenched. Okay, I don't know if I showed you these last two. I don't think I did. So the other two crystals I have here, this is my obsidian, and then this is my smoky quartz. So you can see these are both kind of dark. This one's really black. This one is kind of gray. So smoky quartz, any crystal that has a lot of black in it, um, it usually tends to be about psychic protection, and it tends to be about deflecting negative energy. So very much that is what this obsidian is all about. Keeping negativity away from you, any negativity coming towards you from others. And then the smoky quartz here has to do with that as well. It also has to do a lot with clearing your energy field, because it also has the quartz in there. And quartz is, on the other hand, a very clear, more kind of white stone. So it's more about clearing your aura, kind of blasting it with a light type of thing to get all of that out of there. So it kind of clears, and then at the same time it surrounds you in a protective kind of energy. And then the obsidian is deflecting that negativity away from you and also absorbing negativity that's coming towards you. So these cords to your husband are something to be aware of, because they can kind of keep you locked a bit in fear. It also kind of feels like sometimes you feel like you can't say the wrong thing, like you have to be careful what you say around him, or how you come across with him, or like feelings that you put out or words that you put out. So sometimes you feel a little like you're walking on eggshells. Um, So I don't know if you've heard that expression before, but in other words, so it means that you're walking on something that's very fine, that you could easily just crack. Um, so it feels like you have to be kind of tiptoeing around him to not kind of trigger him, set off a button where he has some kind of reaction. He has some kind of emotional reaction. And it feels like he can be very controlling. It also feels like sometimes you feel like you're judged, or that you are really put down. And almost where you feel like he kind of sees you in a certain place. Um, Even like you're beneath him. But again, these are just programmings. These are just this male, female programming that he really has. Um, I don't feel like he has it so much with his daughter. He would want her to be more free. He would want to encourage her to do things and do the things that he wants. Um, it's a little different with you, though, it feels like. Because you are someone who's almost kind of more on par with him. Where you're supposed to be more of an equal decision maker in the household, and so it feels like a competition thing. And so it's like he needs to make sure that that authority is his. That's what it feels like. So his daughter isn't really a threat to him. She's not someone who can take that away from him, or who feels like she could take that away from him. This kind of authoritative position that he feels for himself and that he wants to have for himself, and he wants to have it all to himself. And it's just very fear-based that he has that, again, like your guides have mentioned numerous times. Okay, so I'm gonna go into these questions really quick. Okay, so one thing that your guides are saying, one thing that your daughter is doing is that she's going against her fears. She's been just so much stepping out of her comfort zone and kind of busting through these fears that she has. So it's like there were these walls here, okay? So she had these walls around her that were keeping her closed in, and it was um, these emotional barriers where you can almost think of each wall as being like a fear that she needed to burst through. And when you're locked in with all these fears around you, there are a lot of other emotions that come up. It's fear-based. They're out of fear. They're from fear. So fear was their source, and that's what all the four walls represents, that are closing in around you, or that were closing in around her. And when you have that around you, you can have all these other emotions that come up. You can be sitting, inside of these walls with your fear, and that can also make you angry, and that can make you disturbed, and it can make you tired, and it can make you feel hurt or depressed, or it can make you feel suicidal even at times. It can be really, really overwhelming. But these are just fears. And so that's the thing that you're really seeing your daughter do right now, is you're seeing her burst through all of these fears. And so that's really the thing to attack. And I feel like that's this thing that your husband uses. And that's what he needs to see you break out of more, are these fears. So I feel like really work on facing your fears. Okay, so the other thing, your guides are reminding me of this because I don't think I said this before I started to. So they were talking about the breathing, but they were also talking about movement. So aside from the breathing, also movement is something that would be really good. And it feels like it needs to be something that's energy based. So something like Tai Chi, where you're very focused mentally. You're moving your body in a free way. And also at the same time in a focused way. But free in the sense of your energy starts flowing. It's connecting you with your energy, and it's freeing up your energy through these synchronized movements that your body is doing. Then and also your mind is really focusing. At the same time, your chakras and your energy field is really opening up and expanding, and it's allowing more energies to flow through your energy field and to push through blocks that are there and fears that are there. But what you're really attacking is fear. That's really the main thing that you are going against. I feel like that's the thing that he's kind of controlling you with. And it's because you're both in the same vibration. That's why those two vibrations can work so well together. And again, that's another reason why it's better for you to stay with your husband. At this point anyway, but it really does feel like more it feels like to just continue to stay with your husband. I don't really feel like you're going to end up leaving him. It feels like you're both going to end up opening up a bit more, but it feels like you're the one who really needs to lead that, because it feels like this is on your end too, that this is something that you allow. And it's based off of your own fears. So it feels like he controls you with fear, but also that you allow him to control you with your own fears as well. And so the thing is, him going out, and he's the husband, and he's going out and he's doing the working, it's kind of allowed you to stay in this shell and hide behind your fears. And so your guides are saying that that's something that you need to admit, almost that in some sense, in a way, he's kind of protected you a bit. He's kind of protected you from the world, or from having to step out into your rightful place. But they're saying that that's just a programming. It's not something to feel bad about. It's just something to acknowledge, and then just continue to progress and move forward. Acknowledge your fears, and then really, really work to burst through them. Because it feels like, the more that these walls are here and you're shut in inside them, it's like they're getting heavier and heavier. And they're just starting to collapse around you more and more, where you're being almost caved in. And you don't want to live your life in a cave. You need to breathe fresh air. You need to come out of your shell. And they really want that for you. So I feel like even this breathing is like symbology. It's this symbol of this new flow of air that's coming through you. It's this breath of fresh air, something that's fresh, that's new, that's exciting, and it's coming toward you. And they want you to really gulp that in, to really take in that newness, that fresh air. So this is like a concept that they're describing by you breathing in like this, but this is also really important for you to physically do. Because that's the thing about when you're doing something physical and it represents something energetic and spiritual, it can really help you to burst out of mental programmings, and to really break free of a lot of emotions that were binding you to certain behaviors. But one thing that your guides are saying is to not be afraid of your husband, and that he really doesn't have the amount of control that he likes to come across with, because it's all fear-based. It's not a true power. It's not a true authority. It comes from something that's actually really weak, because it's out of a fear. That isn't someone who really feels strong. So that's the thing. If he felt strong, he would be more empowering. If he felt more abundant and like he didn't lack, he would want to give more. He would say, yeah, we have all the money, here, you want to spend some of the money here, take some of this money. But I also don't feel like that would really aid you in learning the lessons that you need to learn. So that's the thing. His blocks are actually an opportunity for you to break through some of your own blocks and to learn some really valuable lessons. And I feel like if you can step out of these, you're going to help him in the long run as well. But also with serious business, your guides are saying this about her as well, she's really started this thing that can trigger even more than she would have realized. So if her breaking free enables you to break free, and then that's also going to help him as well. So you can see that she's really helping a lot and improving a lot by breaking free. And that's going to be something that you have as part of your story. You know, when you go and you start helping others, you'll be able to say, hey, I had all these fears. I was able to step through these things and break through these things. And that's why you can help others so much more. Because you have been through things, and then you're able to impart your wisdom when you can say, this is how I broke out of those things. And you can also be more understanding when it comes to what people are going through in their own life and what troubles or concerns they're having, what emotions they're going through, you know, what struggles they have in their own relationship, or maybe what kind of addictive behaviors they're struggling through, or whatever it is. And you can help those people because you can see yourself in them. You can see what you came out of in where they're at. And that's why you'll really be able to help those people. So it's a good thing that you had these blocks. And they're really not something to shun or look down on, even though they are something to move out of. And now it's really the time to move out of those things. But I really feel like your guides are applauding you. They're really encouraging you to move forward. They're saying that you definitely have the strength to do it and to pull out of these things. I feel like it is something that is hard, that it is difficult and very challenging, but I feel from them like you're definitely up for the challenge, and you're going to find that you have a lot more strength than you even realized, and that there's a lot more positivity there to pull from within yourself, a lot more strength and positivity than you ever realized. So they're really encouraging you with that. And they're also saying that they're there around you, that even if you don't feel them or you're not aware of it, they're constantly providing you with energy and encouragement. And I feel like you can go to them in your own mind, and you can ask them for help with things, and they're going to send you suggestions and nudges where I feel like you're going to know what to do. You're going to be guided, but you have to reach out to them. You have to reach out to others. And also the last thing that I didn't mention, this little tiny thing before, and it's coming in again, but with this Tai Chi thing that they were mentioning, or some kind of body movement where you're also focusing on your energy, I feel like it's really important that you would do this with other people. So some kind of class that you're taking. That's something that feels really important for you, is to have these energy exchanges with other people, where you're exchanging your energy back and forth with others. And again, in the long run, when you're being of service to others, it's about that energy exchange where you're giving back to them, and they're exchanging energy with you. They're feeling comforted by what you've put out. That is going to really help you feel fulfilled in life and really help you to move forward. Okay, so that is all that your guides have to say for now, and our time is up. So thank you so much, Service to Others, and thank you, Serious Business, for another reading. And I really, really hope that this benefits both of you and your husband as well. I thank you very much. Namaste.